Bernie, when you were developing the storyline for Remember Warsaw, can you talk about what compelled you to develop a strong female character in Rachael?
Well, the characters developed and then became themselves. And Rachael developed Rachael. I wanted to get three very different kinds of people. So you have a flutist, you have just a good guy who just wants to get out of this, doesn't want anything to do with Judaism or anything else, her brother, Rachel's brother. And then you have Rachael. And I guess instinctively, I think that strong women are the fabric of the world, and are, when push comes to shove, it's strong women who hold the world up, hold the world together, and provide for the future. That's debatable, but was always my emotional feeling. So I guess that sort of comes through in Rachael. Rachael believes in the law. She's worked really hard. She's done everything right. She'd love to get married, but she can't get married in these times. How could you possibly get married after the German invasion of Poland? She puts it off. She'll finish school first. She figures it out. Okay, the Nazis aren't going to last forever. I'll finish school. I'll learn how to get around them through the law and do things the right way. She wasn't a rebellious sort. She wanted to follow the rules, and then the rules became crazy. And so in the end, or in the middle really, her fiance, Josh, is a flutist and has connections with the Germans because they wanted to play flute and so on. Eventually he plays in the German orchestras that were there to convince the Jews that nothing bad was going to happen as they got off the trains from all over Europe, which is a whole other thing. But Rachael, she can't go to school anymore. But Joshua has a way for Rachael to get out because he's got a connection with the Germans. And he says, Rachael, come on. And Rachael, a strong woman who believes in justice and morality in her own life as well as in the governmental systems that no longer have that belief. In a very dramatic moment, Josh, you got to come down, refuses and says, I refuse. I'm a Jew. I'm still a Jew. My poor parents, my poor brother. I can't leave them. My poor father, my poor mother. And she decides to stay, give the passport to another, someone else's brother. I'm a Jew. A very dramatic moment, a very telling moment, a very difficult moment for Rachael, because here's a chance for life. But she refuses. And so she gets married. That for one night, because the next day the trains are coming. And her name, her family's name, is listed for the morning train. So she gets married for one night, and she gets pregnant. And I discovered in my research that the Germans' depravity know no limits. Once they got where they were going, they just kept going there. And as hard as it is for us to accept, the Germans believed that any Jewish woman who would give birth had to be killed, both the baby and her, because that meant they could procreate more evil Jews. So Rachael is pregnant and doesn't tell anybody about it, but Joshua knows about it. And he also knows about the Germans, and he's well aware, he's familiar with what the Germans would do. So in Auschwitz, he says, you have to kill the baby before the Germans find out. And she says, I'm not doing it, I can't kill my baby. And they kind of leave it unresolved, and then she gets into labor. And she has the baby, and her friend is assigned with killing the baby and discarding it so the Germans don't find out. And Rachael just can't accept that. She would rather die herself than have her baby die, which is a metaphor, of course, for civilization. How do we make this civilization go on in the face of this kind of force, this kind of evil? And the Russians come in, and Joshua realizes that the camp is about to be liberated. He comes in and he says, "Stop! You don't have to kill the baby. We're going to be saved." And then a horrible event happens at the end. The Germans, before they leave, try to kill the baby, and Joshua and Rachel, just as the Russians and Joshua are coming to save them. And the baby is saved, but Rachel is the last Jew to die at Auschwitz.
And yet her namesake is Rachel, and her granddaughter's namesake is Rachel.
Right.
So could you just speak to the metaphorical significance of the naming?
Yep. So the daughter lives and eventually becomes a grandmother. And like many Holocaust survivors, many, they don't tell their stories until they become seniors and elderly. And then they have the need to tell the story. And Rachel's child, Bacha, wants to tell her granddaughter, who's named after Rachel. She feels she must tell her the story. On her Bat Mitzvah day. And that whole part is one of the reasons why we wanted to do it again, because that wasn't developed with the drama and the intensity that it deserved and needed and called for. And we realized that in the second showing. So that confrontation, why are you telling me this, Grandma? My Bat Mitzvah, how could you ruin my Bat Mitzvah day and tell me this horrible, horrible story? And Bacha says, I have to tell you, I must. You have to know where you come from. You have to know your past. You have to remember. So she does. She tells her the story. And the names are very important that way. I spelled Rachel very differently. I spelled Rachel for the original Rachel, and Rachel for the Bob as a girl. But her process and understanding allows her to say her prayers on her Bat Mitzvah day in a very different way, with a very different understanding. And the charms on her arm that represented her forefathers, her grandparents, and her uncle, have much more meaning. They're not just a charm bracelet, a sleek piece of jewelry given by well-to-do Jewish people to their grandchildren on holidays or on birthdays. They represent something far more, and that's why at the very end, before she says Kaddish, which ends the piece, her grandmother gives her the Jewish star, which they had to wear to identify them in Gestapo Poland as Jews. We all need to wear our identities without shame, without meanness, proudly, whether we're Jews or Germans or Irish or Catholic or Muslim or Hindu. We all should be able to wear our symbols of our souls and of ourselves without shame, without intolerance, without bigotry, and wear them proudly and be recognized for them.